Hi everyone, like the rest of us, I am stuck here at home trying to make the best out of this bad situation. So I thought I would put together a series of shortish videos to see if I could help in these trying times. And for those of you that do not know me, my name is Jules Macmillan and I own a company called Cascade Learning. And we specialise in all things to do with management development and personal development. And it's the personal development piece that I want to focus on today. I'm guessing this video is probably going to last about 5-10 minutes. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll have some really clear tips on how to feel more calm, more in control, and kind of deal with any sense of overwhelm that you might be experiencing. I also recently put together a little flyer which has inspired these videos on how to survive the COVID-19. I put together 4 tips on how to deal with kind of overwhelm and stress. So I plan to do a video for each of those 4 tips. The first one, which today's video is all about, is a tip called the Trinity. So the Trinity is a great way to feel calm, to feel in control, to overcome a sense of overwhelm or intense nerves. And the Trinity is something that I have been teaching for a long time, and the origins of this technique actually go back to my early 20s. So I used to be painfully shy, which nobody ever believes, very strange. And in a way to combat that shyness, I used to think, how can I make myself look as if I'm not shy? So what I used to do is, just before I walked into a room, so it might have been a meeting room, it might have been, often it was a pub. I'm not going to lie, I was often walking into a pub on my own and wanted to look more confident and self-assured. So I thought, what can I do to do that? And I thought to myself, I can make myself look as if I am confident, even if inside I'm not. So what I used to say to myself was, I'll check myself at the door. So just before I walked into any room or pub, I check myself at the door and I kind of think, well, how am I standing? How can I act as if I'm confident? How would a confident person act? So I used to kind of roll my shoulders back and down, hold my head up high, flick out the hair, and then enter that pub with confidence. And then a weird thing happened. Over the years, I started to become more confident. And that's where the Trinity really came from. And then throughout the years I've learned more tips and tricks myself from training courses I've been on and things I've developed, and finally put together the Trinity. Now it's mainly used, I mainly teach it on courses that some of you, if you know me, might have been on. I would teach it on presentation skills courses, assertiveness courses, anything to do with confidence. I would teach the Trinity a lot because it's such a good way to feel more confident. And one thing I will ask, if you do have children, particularly if they're of the ages of, let's say 5 to 9, please teach them the Trinity. I think this should be taught in schools. You know, imagine back when you were a kid, you had a way to instantly make yourself feel better, to feel calmer and more in control. So I'm going to take you through it bit by bit. Now, I am sans materials today. Working from home, obviously I don't have the usual tools of my trade. I have no flip charts, I have no PowerPoint slides, so unfortunately you just have me to look at. I don't know enough about video editing to put in all the whirligigs, so I will do my very best to act things out for you today. And if you're still with me so far, maybe pick up a pen, because I'm going to give you the three simple tips to feel more calm, more in control, more confident, and deal with that sense of overwhelm. So the Trinity then. Tip number 1 of the Trinity is your posture. So it's a bit, going back a bit really to me checking myself at the door. The way we hold our body and our posture has a massive impact onto what we're thinking and feeling inside of our head and inside of our body, because there's so much connected. So if we can get the posture right, it really does help just to calm the nerves. So to start with that, we are going to use the posture that's actually based on a yoga posture called the mountain pose, which would look like this. I've practiced yoga for years, so that's a lovely kind of connection there for me. I think it's also called Tadasana. Might need to check that one, but it's commonly known as the mountain pose. I'm going to walk you through it bit by bit. You can do this yourselves right now with me if you like. I'm going to walk us through. This would be great to use, the whole Trinity would be great to use anytime you feel a sense of overwhelm, anytime you're nervous, beyond these next few months back at work, if you're about to have an important meeting, if you're doing a presentation, if you want to feel more assertive, that's when you would do these tips. And they work really fast in changing your state. So going back to our posture, we're going to start at the feet. Hopefully you can see my feet in the camera. But you want to start with a nice strong base. So your feet need to be hip width distance apart. So you don't want your feet going out like this. You don't want them going in like this. You don't want to be shifting weight either side. You want a nice strong base. So feet hip width distance apart. Moving up, you might want to pop some tension in the thighs just to make yourself nice and strong. Kind of push back a little, lock in with the coccyx there. Not too much tension, but just enough so you feel nice and centred. Now the most important part of posture is all about this part of our body, what we would call our core. So when we are wanting to get a great posture, you need to be engaging your core. So if you've ever done any yoga, Pilates, weight training or martial arts, they will all go through the importance of core engagement. And I want to show you the difference. Hopefully it will kind of come out on the video okay, but this would be me with my core disengaged. Obviously it doesn't look great, but you kind of get a bit slumped. You then have a tendency to kind of wibble around a bit. You're not as strong. So instead we want to really engage that core. And I had a Pilates teacher years ago that said, you want to imagine you've got on a pair of trousers inside and you're zipping up the trousers. It's like a kind of tension here that just centres you. So that's core engagement. Next, as we move up, we want shoulders, back and down. You really want to open up the chest so that you can breathe properly. We're going to come on to the importance of breathing in a little bit in tip number 3. So shoulders back and down, and then you have options with your hands. If you're just doing this at home, you could use the mountain pose, you could just have your hands relaxed by your side. If you're using this to present, then you can bring your hands up like this. You want the forearms running parallel to the floor, and you don't want any tension. So you don't want to be hugging yourself, you don't want to be looking overly relaxed here, just a nice light touch, and you'll see any presenter on television doing this. Obviously you wouldn't stay like this the whole time because it would look a bit weird, but it's nice to start and it anchors the shoulders, or we can have them by the sides here, our hands. So that's our shoulders. Now moving up here, we want to reduce any tension. So no tension in the shoulders because they're nice and relaxed. Also just relax the tension in the jaws, and then just soften the face, head held high. And then the last one that everybody goes, oh yeah, I forgot that, is to smile, even if you don't feel like it. Now if you're like me, I've been very up and down over these last few weeks with everything that's going on. I think all of us are. So sometimes just engaging the facial muscles and smiling, it can start to lift the spirits even if you don't feel it. If you're about to use the Trinity for any online meetings or any virtual training or anything like this, you can use exactly the same principles. If you're sitting down, same thing, just do it from the waist up and smile. It's just a great way to engage people. All right, so that's our posture. Nice and strong base, shoulders back and down. Hands either by the side or relaxed. If you're sitting down, they could be relaxed in your lap. You can also have them like this if you're listening maybe on a call. Nice smile, nice engagement, no tension. That's tip number 1, posture. Tip number 2 is peripheral vision. Peripheral vision. You may or may not have heard of it, but pretty much everybody knows what it is. Now, peripheral vision is when you can see right out to the corners of your kind of field of vision. It generally goes out to about here. Can't see anything here, just about can see my fingers wiggling. And if you want to experience this, you could do exactly the same as me right now. Kind of stare straight ahead, relax the focus of your eyes, kind of wiggle your fingers out in front of you, stare past them, slowly open up your arms till you can't see your fingers anymore, and then bring them back in so you can just see the edges. That's how far your field of peripheral vision will go. Now, peripheral vision is amazing in just calming the nervous system. It gives us better access to the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that kind of calms us. It also gives us better access to our memory, so it helps with kind of recall, and overall it just calms us down, calms us right down. When we get really stressed or anxious or angry, we go into something called foveal vision, a bit like tunnel vision. And that's when we're really intensely looking at everything and everything just gets so overwhelming. And that's because we've accessed the sympathetic nervous system, which isn't very sympathetic at all, to be fair. It's where everything is intense. So we want to soften the focus of the eyes. So even if you are reading something, you think you need to be in tunnel vision, or you're looking at somebody, you can still look at them. Just soften the focus so you can see out to the peripheries, and instantly it just calms you down. Particularly if you get really overwhelmed, if you're ever crying or really, really upset, if you can just say to yourself, peripheral vision, and snap into it, it really does work. So that's your peripheral vision. Where we experience this the most, which none of us will really be doing a lot of at the minute, is driving, riding a bike, and any sports where you need to spot things or see things. We are always in peripheral vision. It's much, much safer. So that one's excellent. So tip number 1, remember, was our posture. Tip number 2, peripheral vision. Soften the focus of the eyes, calm the nervous system down. Tip number 3, should come naturally if you've done 1 and 2, it's your breathing. So breathing, not optional, but we need to make sure we're doing the right sort of breathing to help us to feel more calm, more secure, more in control. So you might have guessed it, we need to be breathing from the diaphragm. When we get nervous or anxious, what we tend to do is we tense our body. And in tensing the body, imagine this is your whole lung capacity. It's like you've suddenly crunched it in the middle. You're limiting the amount of oxygen you're taking on. So everything starts to get hot and panicky. And already I can feel like a tension or a heat in my head here. And it's because you've compromised your breathing. You then can't think as clearly. You then get all those physical symptoms that we associate with stress. So shoulders back and down, open up the chest. When you breathe in, your stomach should come out, your rib cage should expand. If you want to experience that, you can just put your hands on your belly. As you breathe in, you should feel your stomach come out. As you breathe out, the stomach just softens again. Now, you don't have to be taking great big gulping breaths to get this benefit. It's just your normal breathing pattern. Just make sure you're using your diaphragm, not the top of the chest. So that's the Trinity. I hope you found this video useful today. I do plan to put some others together, but it'd be great to get feedback on what you think of this one so far. So just to sum up, we use the Trinity whenever we feel nervous, anxious, overwhelmed, back in our real world, if you're about to do a presentation or an important meeting, you just want to come across looking more confident and assertive, you do the Trinity. 3 simple tips, remember. Number 1, posture. Check yourself at the door. Number 2, soften the focus of your eyes. Have that lovely peripheral vision. And number 3, breathe from the diaphragm. And remember to smile. Thank you very much, guys. I wish you all the best and hopefully see you all again soon.